Okay, so there are 4 stages to a muscle contraction, and the first is going to begin at the neuromuscular junction, which is where your motor neuron is going to connect to your muscle fiber. And here is a close-up of like what's happening over here, which is your synaptic knob. And in here, your acetylcholine is going to be. So when the signal comes from the motor neuron and enters the synaptic knob, it's going to cause the calcium to attach to the acetylcholine, and it's going to come through your plasma membrane and attach to your acetylcholine receptors. Once it attaches to your receptors basically have potassium leaving and sodium entering in. So your sodium is going to be positive, so it's going to make everything in here more positive. And so this is going to trigger the effect, like a domino effect, going down your sarcolemma. And this is going to be basically the events that occur at the sarcolemma. So this will be at the second one already. So here you're going to have your membrane potential. So as your sodium's entering, more sodium's going to enter than potassium leaving. So it's going to become more positive in here. So the original number that it'll have would be -90, but then now it's going to turn to a -65. And so as it keeps going through, of course, the domino effect, it's going to start opening the voltage gated channels, which basically it's going to go down the T-tubule, and it's going to release more calcium, which calcium's already stored in your reticulum over here, but now it's going to give more calcium into it, and it's going to release into your plasma. So that's going to lead to the third stage, which is where the actual contraction will occur in the sarcomeres. So your sarcomeres are the sections of your muscle fibers. So you're gonna have your actin filaments and your myosin filaments. Your actins are your thin ones, and your myosins, of course, are your thick ones. So in the actin filaments, here's another bigger picture, but this is basically what's zoomed in for this. So this is your big myofilaments and your actins. You're gonna have your myosin heads, and your myosin heads are basically gonna they wanna connect to the actin to be able to slide across like this. So your muscles are going to contract by pulling together and pulling apart. So it's going to curl from this to this. So in order for it to move like that, your myosin heads need to connect to the actin. But your actin is guarded by your troponin and your tropomyosin. So in order for it to not be connected no more, the calcium that was once going through the T-tubules and like through the reticulum are now going to come into here and going to lift the troponin. So once it connects to the tropamine, it's going to lift it up, and it's going to lift the tropomyosin with it. So now these are acting like they're not going to be there no more, so your myosin heads are now allowed to connect to it. Your myosin heads do need a molecule of ATP, and it's going to turn your ATP into ADP and a phosphate molecule. So once it's ready with the ADP molecule and the phosphate molecule, it's able to attach to the actin. Once it attaches to the actin, it's going to perform a power stroke. So that's basically where it's connecting to here and moving across. So it's going to start pulling it closer as it is right here. So it's going to continue to do that over and over again. And so which will lead to the fourth stage, which is the relaxation stage. Once your muscles already contracted, it's going to need to relax in order to go back to normal. So once it goes back to normal, it's going to start all the way back up to the beginning, and basically your signal that was once being sent through your neuron is going to shut off. So your acetylcholine is going to stop coming, and then your potential everything that was going on in the membrane earlier with the numbers, which it was last set off at a +30, it's going to go back to -90 because your sodium's going to start leaving, and it's just going to start balancing itself out again. So then that's going to lead to the calcium that was entering through here. It's everything, your acetylcholine is going to be destroyed by your acetylcholinesterase, which is the enzyme that's going to destroy it, which then leads to this. So then your calcium stops coming, and then once it stops coming to the plasm over here, it's going to reconnect. Your troponin and your tropomyosin are going to reconnect, no longer allowing the myosin heads to connect, so it's going to pull apart. And that's everything. Thank you.